Tonight on Trading Shots, the biggest takeaway from last week's matches in Division B, we make some predictions ahead of CWL Anaheim, and finally, who is the best chance of taking down Rise Nation in the Golden State. Merc here, joined by Maven and Benson. That original duo is back. Let's do this. We're halfway through Stage 2 of the Pro League last week. Division B finished their second week of play, and our standings are starting to take shape. Rise Nation, ASTRO Gaming, Unilad, and E-United are in the playoffs, while Luminosity, Complexity, Mindfreak, and Tainted Minds are on the outside looking in. Gentlemen, a lot transpired in Week 4, but I want to know, what was your biggest takeaway? Maven, you won last week, so you get to go first.
Thank you. Division B, it ended up being a lot crazier than we maybe expected, but the biggest takeaway for me right now, Unilad are the real deal, man. They're sitting at 5-2. There was a big question, how good were they going to be after losing a superstar in scraps? The answer is they've been very good. They're sitting in the top 4 right now. Wusking is playing at a level we've never seen him actually play at. Wusking has a 1.23 overall right now. He has looked like one of the top ARs in the game. It's been truly phenomenal to watch. He had one of the best series of his life against E-United the other day, which was an incredible win. They 3-0 Mindfreak in the final day of matches, which is actually really impressive. Like, we talk about Mindfreak as a team that they don't actually ever really get 3-0. They
just
extend
don't close.
series. They go to 4 games, 5 games. Like, they took a map off United. They took a map off Rise. They took a map off Optic. Unilad comes in and 3-0 bops them. I thought that was very impressive. And then sort of a trickle-down effect from this, just like a secondary point about Unilad, it also makes Luminosity, like, they're in trouble because Unilad's playing so well. But that's the biggest takeaway for me.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. I mean, you had to point out, which you didn't, but I mean, they lost 2 games on their first day. Since then, they are 5-0 throughout these
Optic and
couple
Rise,
weeks.
like this.
But yeah, I mean, they had a tough first day. They got on through it, and now they're sitting at 5-2. Ben, what do you have?
Joe, I love you. I think you're a great host of the show.
Okay.
But I got to throw you under the bus. And Clint, I'm throwing you under too.
Don't.
2 weeks ago, I sat here and I told you Rise will be #1. And both of you said, no, Optic Gaming will beat them. And look what happened. Rise came out and embarrassed them. Rise is, without a doubt, the best team in Call of Duty right now. And there is just simply no argument.
Yeah, but we went back and forth on that.
No.
I don't know if that's too bold.
I want to go back. I want to watch the VOD. But that
Go
isn't
ahead.
even the main point. But it's a big point, obviously. But for me, you have to look at E-United. What is going on with that team? If I'm a fan of E-United, my heart is going through so many different emotions right now of love, happiness, and just sheer shock and panic. If you're a member of staff for United, probably the same thing. They beat 2 of the best teams in the game, and they did it convincingly. Yet now they're losing to teams in like 5th through 6th position, and even 7th. It doesn't make sense.
I actually think one of my favorite things from the Call of Duty Reddit the other day was there was a thread that basically said, E-United makes me want to die. And it was after they lost to Complexity, and then after they went and beat Optic, after that it got edited and said, E-United makes me want to live, or something like that. I was like, that is definitely just, it's how crazy the team is. Being a fan of E-United must suck.
It really must. It's insane. You watch them play. That game against Optic Gaming, that wasn't close. It was a just complete
that map 4 especially was
it was a whitewash. And you're left asking the question, well, if you can do that against the best teams in the world, why can't you do that against the other teams in the division, which are nowhere near as good as the teams at the top?
Who beat them, though? Unilad.
Yeah, they definitely did.
Just circling back, Ben.
Okay.
Yeah, I like both of your points here, and I'm going to each give you a 1 point, but I think one of the biggest takeaways for me for Division B is we thought Division B was going to be clear and cut. We thought it was going to be clean, and it wasn't. Teams like Complexity, Unilad, they stepped up. Luminosity, they're on the hot seat right now, but let's move on to our next segment. It's the Quick Scope. CWL Anaheim is less than a week away. We have our pools now, and it's time for our players to make some predictions for each pool. A is the first letter in the alphabet, if you didn't know, so we're going to start there. Red Reserve, E-United, FaZe, Tainted Minds, and an open bracket team make up Pool A. Maven, what do you have for me?
All right. Okay, so it might be a little interesting, a little bit off-putting to some people, but I'm going to take E-United and FaZe. And this isn't...
Not going to take Red.
This isn't even a knock to Red. This is just history. Red belong in the losers bracket. They live in the losers bracket. Let's take a look at the year just with open events. So we start with Dallas. 2nd place finish in pools. They start in the winners bracket. Great. From there on out, let's go through it. New Orleans, 3rd. Atlanta, 3rd. Birmingham, 3rd. Seattle, 3rd. They have started in losers at every major open tournament since the very first one in Dallas. Now, I know you have scraps in the team, and should they be top 2? Absolutely. But that's not where they live. They live in the losers bracket. Red, I'm sorry. You're finishing 3rd again.
All right, so Maven, he's taking E United and FaZe to top that Pool A. Ben, what do you have?
The only thing you could have said, Maven, that would be more wrong than what you did is that Tainted Minds would finish in the top 2. There's no
I'm not
way
drunk.
Red Reserve don't finish 1 or 2. It's just not going to happen. And here's the reason why. Bringing off my last point about E United, you're really telling me you feel comfortable in E United's ability to get out of that pool. Bear in mind, they'll also get the hardest team from the open bracket falling into that pool.
Ben, doesn't
as well.
Red Reserve strike you exactly like a team E United would beat, though? Like the top team from that's exactly the team E United comes out and beats.
I really don't see E United being consistent enough across the pool play games, which is so bizarre to say considering the quality of teams you've seen this squad beat. For me, Red Reserve, without a doubt, if they haven't proven it to you in their division, in Division A, I don't know what more it's going to take. They are phenomenal. To me, they're the only
I think
team.
they're incredible.
They're the only team that compete with Rise.
They
will come out of
pools.
I think this is the event where they definitely do. For me, I can't possibly put United in my top 2. They're just too inconsistent.
Well, you can't. You think they're just too inconsistent? I mean, talk about this pool. Red has been inconsistent. E United has been inconsistent. FaZe at open events, not good at all. So I think
they've been consistently
both of these points, consistently bad. I like what you said, Clint. I think they do belong in the losers bracket. It's just what makes sense. I mean, I would love to see them in the winners bracket.
They're number
Hold
1
on.
division.
Give me a second here.
Third.
I'm going to give you both 1 point.
4 times in a row, Ben.
But I'm going to add an extra point there for Maven just due to that. So 2 to Maven, 1 to Ben on that round, just due to the sheer fact of, yeah, I feel like history repeats itself. But once again, you have United, you have FaZe. Who knows what's going to happen to Pool A? Okay, next up, Pool B. Rise Nation, Team Caliber, Luminosity Gaming, Epsilon, and 1 open bracket team. And since B is for Benson, let's hear your predictions.
I like that, Joe. I think this one is easy. I don't think there's anyone in the world, and I mean this, that wouldn't have Rise in their top 2. Clint, if you don't have Rise in your top 2, I'm getting off this chair and slapping you across the face because you must be drunk.
Well, I mean, they did have a slow Seattle. They had a slow Seattle.
No. Rise is the best team in Call of Duty right now. They are finishing number 1 in that group.
They showed that.
There is legitimately no argument. The second team, however, is where it gets interesting. LG, have they had a slow start? Absolutely. But their last game that we saw them play in their division, it seemed as if things were slowly starting to click. Their search and destroy strats, it seemed like Formal was slotting in a little bit better. Respawn, we saw Formal towards the end of the game turn up, which is when you want them to turn up the most. And because of that, I think, they got a couple extra days of practice. Anaheim is going to be great for them, thinking about the rest of their division and, of course, playoffs. I see LG coming out in second.
All right, LG coming out and saying didn't have the best first couple of weeks, a brand new team. But Clint, let me know what you have.
I disagree. Well, okay, I agree with the Rise part. Rise is absolutely
How can you not?
top.
Yeah.
Next, though, I'm going Team Caliber, and this honestly isn't as much about Team Caliber because they've had weaknesses, right? Like in Search and Destroy, they've been horrific. Enable, especially, like they have not been able to win searches, which is what got these old Team Caliber teams over the hump at times. It's just that I still don't believe in LG. Now, do I think Luminosity?
Hold on. Maven doesn't believe in Formal.
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
I'm hearing you out. I just had to clarify that.
Do I think that Luminosity is going to be a team to be reckoned with maybe once we get to Champs time? Yes, but they are going through a learning process right now that is taking more time than I think maybe even we thought it would take. I know it's been a couple of weeks and we've seen improvement, but I actually think LG are going to get something like top 12 at this event. I don't think they're going to have a very strong finish. Now, a month from now, LG may be back to that top team consistent form. They're not there right now, and I don't think anyone can make an argument that they are. I think Anaheim is going to be a poor event for LG.
Maven, heading into the division, what was the biggest worry for LG? What was it?
What, you mean Formal coming to the squad?
No. When we went into Division B, there was one big worry for LG. You said it yourself on Trading Shots. It was their hard points, right? Hard point. Oh, they can't win a hard point. They can't win a hard point.
LG? I don't think I ever said that.
Yes, you did.
No.
Yes, you did.
Everyone literally just made that up.
No.
We'll have to go back and watch.
Ben,
what's your point?
Everyone was worried about their hard point.
I was just worried about slow start.
What was the one game where they
Ben,
really
you're lying. I've been watching Suits. This is defamation of character, and it's horse.
It's true.
I think it's Search and Destroy.
It's true. But going into the division, everyone was worried about their hard point. They fixed their hard point a lot. Now, Search and Destroy is, without a doubt, the biggest worry. And I think they're going to get there. They are going to fix things. And for that, I think they're going to beat TK.
Joe, I'm going to pull you just negative points to Ben. I'm going to go ahead and rule here.
Hold on one
negative
second.
Points to Ben.
Hold on one second, Clint. Let me ask you one question.
Okay.
Why am I very excited to watch Team Caliber in Anaheim?
Why are you excited
why
to
am
watch
I excited?
them?
Yeah, I want to know. Why do you think I'm excited?
To watch Team Caliber in Anaheim.
Yeah, come on. You can do it. Come on, Clint. Let me hear it. 3 seconds.
I have no idea.
3. Well, that's not good. The reason I'm excited, Pharaoh is going to run that flex now. Enable is moving over to that second
I
sub.
think you're talking like historical with those players at Anaheim, and I was like, what the hell have they ever done at Anaheim? That's where my brain went.
I'm excited to watch TK and sort of what this squad can do, because when Enable, when he switched over to that second sub for Evil Geniuses, I felt like it made a lot more sense. I'm excited to watch Pharaoh. Because you didn't bring that up, I'm going to give you no points. I'm going to give 1 point to Ben. I think Luminosity, they have a shot, but it will come down to LG and TK.
He literally lied throughout his entire segment.
That is a true thing, Clint. Go back and watch the VOD.
Moving on to Pool C, Evil Geniuses, Unilad, Echo Fox, Mind Freak, and one open bracket team. C is for Clint. Maven, start your case.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm gonna go EG Unilad. These are two teams that have recently made me a believer. Within their 2-week stretch, they had to kick off Division B. I did not believe in EG necessarily after Seattle. I had some doubts just based on some results of that particular tournament, but they've looked very, very strong within their division. Unilad I already talked about kind of in the opening of the show. Unilad, they're not pretenders. They look very, very strong, but really it boils down to the other two teams for me. I am done with Echo Fox. Stage 1, I believe in them. I'm picking them to get top 4.
You mean the team that you said were going to be
nothing. Stage 2, I pick
weird.
Echo Fox again. They do nothing. They're 3-10 in hard points.
It's almost like you're not good at predicting things.
Stink! They stink! Next up, Mind Freak. I've already talked about you.
Yeah.
I gave up on you. I tried to believe in you for multiple years. You have a couple good wins here and there. You play people tough.
You make it sound like they won championships, the multiple wins.
You're going to be in the losers bracket. You are.
So you're going with the top 2, Unilad and Evil Geniuses to round this pool out. Ben, what do you have? I feel like you got something different.
No.
No.
This is the most clear-cut group, and I hate to have to agree with Clint. I really thought he was going to give Echo Fox one last try. But
I can't do it anymore.
I am glad you've finally seen the light. You've consistently said, oh, Echo Fox will be better. They'll get better. They'll
Watch
get better.
they finish top 3 this event.
I mean,
I could see it.
I know, me too. If they fix their hard point at all, like they literally can make a run.
Do they have the talent? Absolutely they do. But then you look at the other two teams in this group.
That's what we've always talked about.
Exactly, and you can't keep talking about it, right? There's only so long you can say, well, they have the talent.
It's the same thing
if
about
they're not
Mind
getting
Freak.
the
I
placements.
get sick of that same argument.
Exactly,
man.
it's no longer an argument. With the way Unilad has been playing, you'd just be insane to say they're not getting top 2. I think the same can be said with Evil Geniuses. You know, they had a great performance at the last major. Going into division, a couple of people said, oh yeah, it's a little bit of a fluke. I think they proved to everyone it wasn't. I think they played extremely well. For me, Pool C is very, very standard, and I don't think you can make a better argument.
All right, the only question I want to ask you, Ben. Now, erase this week from your memory, right? Mm-hmm. Last week on Trading Shots, your European counterpart, Momo, he picked Unilad as a pretender. Would you consider them a contender?
That's after seeing the first week.
I believe they were, what, 2-2?
So that's after watching the first week. I mean, day 1, they played against ASTRO Gaming and Rise. They lost. Then they had, obviously, 2 further games.
Come on.
Wednesday, Thursday.
They're sitting 2-2.
No, I don't think you can call them a pretender at 2-2. I think that has to be a contender, because at that point in the standings, they probably would have been 5th.
All right, that's all I wanted to know. That's all I want to know. But, I mean, yeah, you guys agree. I think this one's going to be crazy. I think it does come down. Can Echo Fox make a run? Again, we always talk about the talent. I think Nameless a couple of times has just said if Aqua can get into form once again, this team will be so tough to deal with. But lately, he hasn't been. So I'm going to give you both 1 point. Just to you both agree. Didn't have too many different points. But, also, yeah, I'm excited for this pool.
One more thing to, maybe for Echo Fox. European teams don't have the best track record recently at these open events. So, I mean, Seattle was abysmal. Yeah, maybe Unilad fall apart. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Unilad can make top 2 in Anaheim in a couple of days. Last but not least, Pool D. Who would have thought Optic Gaming and Envious back together once again, joined by Complexity, Splice, and an open bracket team? Benson, how do you think Pool D is going to play out?
For me, I think you have to look at the last 2 teams, Complexity and Splice in this pool. Has Complexity shown you convincingly that they're going to come out top 2 in this pool from what we've seen in the Pro League? No, not really. Have they shown glimpses of brilliance? Yes, absolutely. But it isn't consistent. And because of that, I don't think they're going to finish top 2. Splice, I would love to sit here and have the same amount of confidence as I do with Red Reserve. I love seeing Europe do well, especially after a poor last major. I think it's crucial Europe comes out and kicks some butt. But I just don't feel confident. And it's so strange saying that with this group of players, because I love the players individually. I think they're fantastic. You know, I've grown up casting these guys for their entire career as well, but I'm just not confident. I'm really not. Am I overbearingly confident in Team Envious? No. Do I think Optic Gaming should guarantee come out number 1? Yes, they should. I'd be amazed if they didn't. But for me, I have to take Envy in this. I really do. And it's more because I'm not sold on the other two teams that I think Envy should creep through, more so that Envy has impressed me by leaps and bounds. Of course, I think they're third in their division, but for me, it's up to Gaming and Envy.
All right, so we heard it from Ben, and I think the one interesting thing about Pool D is, obviously from top to bottom, I think you can make an argument for Splice, you can make an argument for Complexity. I think this is a very tough pool. Maven, I'm excited to hear what you got.
You shouldn't be. You
okay.
shouldn't be. All right, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not going to get any points this round.
Why?
I went with a bold decision.
That's okay.
My boldest decision. I'm going Optic Splice, and I'm going to break down in a non-analytical way why I did this. You know, sometimes I'm looking at a sheet of paper. I'm looking at the 4 teams. In my gut, you know, I'm
Your
old.
gut has
There's a
said
lot of
Envy
wisdom.
will be a
There's
dynasty.
a lot of wisdom
Your gut
here.
has said Echo Fox will be a fantastic team.
I've also made a lot of correct calls.
Gaming was going to beat Rise.
Ben,
your gut's never right.
settle
Clint.
down.
You should go from
Settle
whatever
down.
your gut says. Do the opposite.
Ben,
You'll win more.
Ben, you're going to get deported if you keep it up.
That's just mean.
I'm going to go with Splice. Now, why? I don't know. I just looked at their name, S-P-L-Y-C-E,
That's how
on
you
the
spell
list,
it,
and I thought, they're going to do this. I was worried I was going to spell that wrong. I'm like, they're going to do this. They're going to make it in the top 2. And one thing that stands out for me, they have been so bad in search, right? They're 2-9. One of their 2 wins, Jerd had to do back-to-back, 1v3 and 1v4s. Their search has been so bad. But I feel like this is a group of 4 players that can fix that. You have a lot of just veteran leadership, a lot of intelligent players on this team. If their search turns around, they can absolutely make top 2. But it's not really that. It's more my gut. I just, I'm smarter than men. Splice top 2.
I will say this, though. If you look at the end of Division A, it was just the first couple of weeks. Envy struggled. They did not look good. They went on a bit of a losing spree. Splice, on the other hand, it seemed like they got better. They were being competitive. So you know what, Clint?
I mean, hold on. Envy is 3rd in the division. Splice is 7th in the division.
I'm actually going to call out our
I'm
host.
not sure. If you give him points based off what his game says,
I was just agreeing with him a little bit.
Envy actually ended very strong, though. I think they had their low in the middle. Didn't they end really strong? I think they had 2 really good wins then.
Their last match they won.
Yeah.
They finished 3rd. Splice is 7th.
But yeah, I don't mind the bold prediction.
It's the Maven magic, baby. It's the Maven magic.
Well, it's kind of Maven black magic, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. I think you have to go with Optic and Envy in this one. Ben, you're going to get 1 point here. Clint, it was a good attempt.
4 points? 4 points from Maven?
No points right now. Quick scope is over, which means we're moving on to our final segment. It's time for the grand finals. We've covered the pools for CWL Anaheim with some bold and not so bold predictions. Luckily for our players, they have another chance at making some sense in this week's episode. Rise Nation are defending champions after winning CWL Seattle and making Optic Gaming look like a bunch of amateurs last week in the Pro League. I think it's safe to say that they are the team to beat right now. Maven, Benson, what I want to know is who has the best chance to dethrone Rise Nation at Anaheim. Benson, you go first.
I'm going to preface this with I think Rise is going to win. So when the Rise players watch this, I'm just letting you know right now.
Well, it's a question. Who's going to put it up? Yeah.
And my answer is Red Reserve.
All right.
Now, I think it'd be very easy to look at maybe some other teams like E United, but they've struggled against the weaker teams. Do they do well against the better teams? Yes.
Get there?
But that's the point, right? Are they even going to get there? Probably not. You look at LG, I don't think it's ready yet. FaZe, they've been very, very inconsistent everywhere outside of Columbus. I mean, you can just keep going on and on and on and on. Red Reserve, however, I think it is finally their time to click and really put on a good show. I think they do get out of pools, which obviously I know Maven disagreed with earlier on, but I think they do. I think they start in the winner's bracket, and that's when things are going to start to heat up. When they're playing with that crowd at Anaheim, Joe, you know, you've played there, things get a little bit more electric. They definitely do. And I think this is a run for Europe. Europe desperately needs it after some poor performances.
No one's going to be cheering for Red Reserve at Anaheim.
Oh, they will, because I'm going to be in the crowd. I'm going to make sure the crowd is turned.
Surrounded by Americans, by the way.
Yes. That's fine.
People in Birmingham.
We're so close to
London.
I
will convert to some Red Reserve fans, okay? But I think Red Reserve, just in terms of skill, like, let's not beat around the bush.
No,
Joe went from,
what,
like a 0.8 to like a 1.1. He's just turned things around in such an unbelievable way. He's fantastic right now. I think you can make an argument he's one of the best players on that team. If he can continue that form through, Red Reserve look unstoppable, except for maybe Rise.
All right, so Benson, he's going with Red Reserve. Maven, what do you got?
The correct answer is no one. There is nobody that has a chance to take out Rise Nation in this event. All right, let me talk through my reasoning here.
All right, I mean, I get your reasoning.
In Division B, they lost 1 hard point. In Division B, they lost 1 Search and Destroy. They have been so good. I think we're going to see something similar to what we saw back in Atlanta. It's interesting you mentioned Red Reserve. That's who they met in the final. Think about how dominant they were. They go 4-0 in pool play, 12-2 in map count. Overall map count is 24-6. They only lost 6 total maps. The only team that really challenged them was Envy, back when Slasher was on the squad. So what do? Hey, bud, come join the squad. Now they have Slasher on the team and they're even better. I actually think this is going to be one of the more dominant tournament runs we've ever seen from a team. I think Rise is going to win this event easily. I just how I feel. I think Rise is going to absolutely destroy.
So you think Rise's biggest competition is themselves? Because if you look at Seattle, they had a slow Friday. They did have a very slow Friday. And
that's
while,
not what he said.
Hold on. And while Red Reserve, I mean, yeah, they met them in a final. You do have to give Red Reserve credit. That day, they started at, what, 9 a.m., got all the way to the final. There was some close maps, but yes, Rise Nation did go away with it. I mean, it's a very tough call, but Maven, that wasn't the question. I want to know.
I don't care.
Who is going to beat them.
It's how I feel. It's how I feel. And I just, honestly, if they are playing at their best, no one can touch them. They cannot lose. They're playing at their best. And I think they're going to be in form, man. I think they're coming off that Optic victory. They're absolutely going to be in form. The crowd is going to be behind somebody. And, you know, it's going to be behind, obviously, Optic, but Rise Nation right up there as well. And I think Rise Nation are going to steamroll. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they somehow end up with a better map count than they did at Atlanta 24-6.
All right, so both players, you go with nobody, which I'm surprised by. You didn't talk about Formal, you didn't talk about Optic.
I was really surprised.
I'm very surprised right now. Ben, you go with Red Reserve. I don't mind that. I think there's 2 teams for me. I think it's Red Reserve and I think it's for Optic. And you guys might be thinking, well, we watched them sort of destroy Optic, but I think Optic learns from that. I think every single day, Optic will continue to get better. Do I think they're going to get better than Rise Nation? No. So for even making a prediction, I'm going to give a point to Benson.
Woo.
Maven, you didn't. I mean, I get it, but I wanted to know who you thought was going to give them a fight.
I casted with Gandhi. He's gone. I casted with Mr. X.
I'm not
gone.
Going anywhere, buddy.
I casted with Courage. He's gone. Next week, you're working at a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Okay, so I don't even know what to say to that. Whatever. With that, it's time for the Smack Talk Winner's Circle presented by Astro Gaming. Benson, take it away.
Thanks, Joe. This headset
Those look comfy.
This is beautiful. It is a very comfy headset. I have a few things to talk about. First of all, Unilad, I said it on broadcast. I apologize. You guys look fantastic. I doubted you. I said on this show, and I said I didn't think you were going to do very well. You've proven me wrong, and you look great. Please, please, please keep it up. Secondly, E-United, fix whatever the hell is going on with your squad. You're beating the best teams in the game, and you're losing to subpar teams that you should be beating. It doesn't make sense. I want you to go into every series like you're playing against Optic Gaming, like you're playing against Rise. Why? Because you might actually do well at an event. I know, shocker, right? The last thing I want to say, Red Reserve. I'm putting a lot of stock in you heading into this next event. Last time I did that was Birmingham, and you let me down in terms of my predictions. You made me look foolish. This time, however, I think the time is right. I'm really, really rooting for you guys and rooting for Europe as a whole. I want you to bring home a major.
All right, you heard it there from Benson. Benson, if I could give you negative points right now, I would, but you already won because United just got 3rd. But anyways, shots were traded and CWL was debated. CWL Anaheim starts on Friday.